This is the Club of the Man 1993, and we are here live on this Taco Tuesday. Just kidding, I did not eat tacos tonight, but I wore my Taco Tuesday shirt because it is Tuesday. And I am up here live to review last night's edition of Monday Night Raw, the August 17th, 2020 edition of Raw that took place at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. Of course, the advertisement of the Thunderdome is coming to starting on Friday, when WWE is moving to the Amway Center, it sounds like, in Orlando, Florida. Okay, having virtual fans, see how that goes. So we're kind of getting out of the Performance Center, looks like, for at least Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-views. We'll see how that goes. Of course, the description, I can't remember off the top of my head, and I'm going to bother looking it up for the Thunderdome, is 100% Vince McMahon. Yeah, when my friend texted me that, actually, let me read this off. I'm pulling up the messages on here that my friend gave me yesterday, just to see. Where is it? Right here. Okay, scroll up. WWE has a long history of producing the greatest live spectacles in sports entertainment, yet nothing compares to what we are creating with WWE Thunderdome, said Kevin Dunn. I'm sorry. WWE television production. This structure will enable us to deliver an immersive... this is still probably a Vince written thing. Enable us to deliver an immersive atmosphere and generate more excitement among the millions of fans watching our programming all over the world. Yeah, millions? How about 1 million, Vince? Not millions! We can now do things production-wise that we could never otherwise do. We're flying drones in the arena. We are putting a roof inside the Amway Center, and we'll be able to project content onto the roof. So when a big star like Drew McIntyre comes down to the ring, the whole arena will turn into his content with lasers, pyro, smoke, projections on top of the building and on the floor. It will be a big, beautiful entrance. Better than WrestleMania. Once again, Vince scripted, an egomaniac, full of himself, you can tell that's like that. But I am intrigued to see how this Thunderdome goes down. Hopefully, it'll bring back some organic realism, or whatever you want to call it, to these shows. Unless this is just Vince having fans, virtual in there virtually, probably little kids, who knows, and piping the rest of the crowd. I'm pretty sure we're going to get reactions just like we got during the Randy Orton and Edge match. The micromanaged reaction that Vince wants you to have. You watch. If Roman Reigns came back at SummerSlam, here's me funny. If Roman Reigns came back, I would assume, unless Vince really has soured on him, that Vince is only doing this because his Golden Boy's coming back. I'm just saying. Wouldn't surprise me. But, again, I'm getting so sick of this whole micromanaged crap that WWE's been able to pull off, because they're controlling the fans, they're controlling the action, they can make this into their own custom video game, as I've been saying since March. But yeah, my introduction regarding the Thunderdome. Let's actually get into this episode of Raw. So this was the go-home show for Raw before SummerSlam. This Raw, in my opinion, which, first off, before I roll into this review, I want to also say thank you guys also for the views. I've been getting a lot more views on my reviews lately. Especially with my SmackDown reviews. I'm getting close to 1,000, which... it just shows I'm not watching the most, but yeah, I'm getting the most views for sure. So yeah, the match cards aren't doing as good as I had hoped for, but the rest of my reviews, good thumbs up. And I'm glad, of course, I've been waiting to do these reviews, at a time where I have the energy and I'm focused to do them. Not like sometimes before I was doing them when I'm like half asleep. I'm just like, yeah, this happened. Good night. No, that's not what I'm doing. So I want to get that shout out there as well. So thank you guys for the support of this channel as this channel continues to grow. So, anyways, Raw. You know how we always make those arguments that Raw should be 2 hours? This Raw, I felt, was the prime example of a show that needed to be 2 hours. There was a lot of stuff on this show that I felt got repeated. That was like getting like double the screen time than it really needed. Like the first time, most of the stuff that happened got its point across. And then when they did something regarding it later on again in the show, it kind of felt a little pointless. There wasn't really anything. Well, okay, I'm sorry. There was one thing I'm going to tear to shreds when we get to it. It's another hashtag. Somebody else who deserves better than what they got in the show. I can't say there was many things I hated, but like I said, there was a lot of things I felt like it feels like it gave it like it was double the screen time for like so many stories, and it felt like filler rather than something that was actually progressive stories. So I think this Raw would have benefited from being just 2 hours. And not 3. Just 2. So, I know I have down in the comment section below. I may lower it a smidge. We'll see. But we got tired of live chat. I rarely watch Raw, and I wish I won't. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Give it a D+. Vince is full of crap. It will be better than the fake crowd. For sure, like I said, I just hope that Vince's not going to edit in like his own piked reactions as well. You know what I mean? Or he's not like telling these virtual fans, oh, cheer. No, boo him. Oh, Roman's here. Cheer Roman. Go nuts. No. I can't wait to the day where Vince will definitely not have his micromanaged crowd anymore. Which may not be till next year. Oh, boy. Anyways, let's roll into this. We open up this episode, which how long have we been here so far? We've been here for 9 minutes. We haven't even talked about the actual episode at all. But we're rolling into it now. We open up with the introduction, doing some rewinding and distortion. So obviously, Retribution's around again. Drew McIntyre comes out. And he says what Orton did to Ric Flair was completely unforgivable. Randy's pure evil, but he's not going to face an old man on Sunday. He's going to face a giant Scotsman. He's going to punish him for everyone he's wronged. And then kind of takes me out of it because then they start flashing a bunch of different graphics and whatnot and all that jazz, confusing us like, wait, what is this really WWE going nuts or what's going on? But then we get shots out in the production truck. Retribution is there, taking out people in the production truck, smashing everything. And we do see, now, this was very misplaced. I felt, if anything, this should have happened towards the end, because doing this and then going back to the regular show made absolutely no sense. Like, it didn't follow us, what happened that made Retribution just go away. They were basically cornering someone in the production truck. And basically, they were yelling at him to shut off the show. So he does, and we go to a commercial break. But then we come back, and the show's continuing. If Retribution was going into the truck to stop the show and ruin it, then how did it continue? I mean, yes, we have that whole leadership promos we got afterwards with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins, which was basically a carbon copy of what they did with Baron Corbin, Big E, and Sheamus on Friday on SmackDown. Instead, they did it with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. Everybody was just trashing on Seth Rollins pretty much afterwards. And then they went on their merry way. It's like they didn't show, people in the Raw locker room and taking out people from Retribution or anything like that. Like, it made no sense. To me, that would have been a way to end the show, I feel. Instead, they did it at the beginning, and then they just continue. It's like, what, did Retribution get bored or something like that? It's like, who's in the truck to continue on the show? Or, could be a thing where it's like, Retribution was producing things their way or something like that. I don't know. Again, it was missing something completely, and to me, it just made no sense. So we have that, and then again, the segment with McIntyre rallying up the locker room with Seth Rollins and Murphy as well. So we got all of that jazz. Then we have the Hurt Business come out. MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin. I'm sorry, Shelton Benjamin. MVP's on microphone. While McIntyre is organizing the buddy system, the Hurt Business is here to make a statement. Wherever Retribution may be, they're officially open for business. Here's what's going on, and while the rest of the roster is hand-wringing, worried about where they may strike next, the Hurt Business is calling them out. They think they're tough, terrorizing people in the shadows, and MVP has learned in life to follow the money. Who benefits most from Retribution's actions? Think about it. If you follow the trail, you end up catering with Apollo Crews and his band of merry pranksters, Ricochet, Mustafa Ali, and Cedric Alexander. We cut to the chase until Retribution shows up at the same time that he fought Crews for the U.S. title, and that's not a coincidence. So basically, he's saying Apollo Crews is behind Retribution. Whatever. Also, I hate the fact that the cameras were very off. They were trying to pull off Retribution messed up the show. I just wasn't a fan of how they set the camera angles for most of the shots. It was a big wide shot for most of the time. Again, it just made no sense. Okay, once again, how did they get Retribution away? I don't know. They didn't explain that. So once again, I'm confuzzled. Anyway, so then Apollo comes out. And yes, I do like Apollo Crews' new theme music. Apollo says accusing him of being behind Retribution is pretty low, even by MVP standards. All he's trying to do is create distractions before the match at SummerSlam, because he knows he can't win without help. So MVP wants real talk. Before the U.S. title match, Apollo's career stopped and started them and made him bitter. MVP sees fear in his eyes. Fear of losing, because he knows as soon as he loses it, it's back to catering. Which, of course, is why I feel like they have to have him turn heel on Sunday. But we'll get into that in my SummerSlam predictions, of course. So, of course, a bold move there by what MVP said. Let me see here. Crews admits, though, he's right. That's why he fights so hard for the title. And if he was anything like MVP, he would have joined the Hurt Business when he was recruited months ago. But MVP, like, if you're like me, you'll be smart and get that this is a business. Apollo's like, sure, they can do business right now, and he wants to wrestle Shelton Benjamin. And if he beats Shelton, both Benjamin and Lashley have to chill in catering during their match at SummerSlam. MVP accepts, get a pre-match brawl. Apollo Crews then beats Shelton Benjamin pretty quickly with a jackknife pin. Of course, there was some distractions on the outside as R-Truth was the 24/7 champion. He was being chased by Akira Tozawa and his stupid ninjas, distracting enough for Crews to win. Afterwards, though, the Hurt Business go in and they attack 3-on-1. But out comes Ricochet, Mustafa Ali, and Cedric Alexander to make the save. And they brawl until Lashley catches Cedric in the full Nelson and takes all three of the other babyfaces to break the hold. And then Shelton Benjamin, in the midst of all this, clobbers out R-Truth, and he wins the 24/7 championship back. So MVP then says they're not going out like that tonight. They do not want to be disrespected by clowns, ninjas, or even Apollo Crews. So he wants Crews to pick two partners for an elimination trios match later on. We'll just get to that in a little bit. Then we have that Demi, whatever the heck her last name is, chilling with Angel Garza, which he gives her a rose, and then Ivar rolls up and basically hits on her, and she basically sides with Garza, with Ivar, because Ivar's cute. Ugh. She agrees and says that Garza didn't poison it, so of course, they're trying to figure out who still poisoned Ford's drink. Oh, it's not too difficult. So, anyways, Ivar has a match with Angel Garza, and then Garza wins with this weak-looking basement drop kick to the side of Ivar's head. It was a very weak finish, and I wasn't a fan of it. Like he didn't even win with the wing clipper. Like, how is just a drop kick like that going to put down Ivar? I was not convinced by that. So he wins, but after the match, we have Angelo Dawkins, who had rolled up and started talking to Demi during the match, and she congratulates Garza, tells him she can't wait to see the title match on Sunday. But Dawkins says they're about to find out a lot about him and his squad. With a gesture, the Tron goes to black, and everybody's running off. And then Samoa Joe tells Zelina about whether Angelo knows, because they've grabbed some security footage based off of something they've been trying to follow up with Retribution. So they basically roll back, they play the tape, and yes, it was obvious after all this time, I didn't do it! Yeah, Zelina Vega poisoned Montez Ford's drink. As we all saw from a mile away, we knew there was no swerve involved in this. So then, of course, that's when Montez Ford returns, beats them down, and we get a brawl. Again, we expected it. Okay, here is the part where I'm going to tear this show apart. This is where I gotta say, how dare you do this? When I tell you what's about to happen, instantly I believe the victim of this needs to get out of WWE. The disrespect they gave this future Hall of Famer with this match. Mickie James versus Natalya. Because of what happened in this match, we went from Naomi deserves better to Mickie deserves better. This was Mickie James' first match back in like a year and a half. The last time we saw her was right around WrestleMania 35, before she got drafted over to SmackDown in the Superstar Shakeup last April. So we have this match, and first off, they're still calling Natalya the Boat, best of all time. Lana's on the side taking pictures with her phone like an annoying teenager. And then, during this match, people have been telling Seth Rollins that Rey Mysterio is going to be there tonight. Seth Rollins, even though a lot of people are telling him that, decides to go down and take it out on Samoa Joe. Who are your sources? How do you know he's coming? Whatnot. All this jazz. So it's like, how many people have told you, yet the only person going to target is Samoa Joe? Again, yes, he helped Dominic. It makes no sense. Like, all of a sudden, it just didn't make sense why he needed to come down and confront Samoa Joe during this match. It made the match feel stupid. It made me feel like it was Heath Slater and Kurt Hawkins at Fastlane a couple years ago when they had that random throwaway match based off to have something going on based off what was happening backstage or something like that. I don't know. I remember it was stupid. It felt like this match didn't even matter whatsoever, because most of it was Seth Rollins chewing out Samoa Joe about something millions of people, I'm sorry, not millions, 20 or 30 some people have been telling them that Rey Mysterio is coming. So it made no sense for him to come out and interfere in this match. Meanwhile, Mickie James is setting up at the top of the rope to do some type of maneuver to pin Natty. But Lana distracts her, and Mickie James, like most people, gets pushed off the ropes and just falls to the floor. And just pushes her off like a normal person would do. But they had Mickie James act like she took the nastiest fall in the world, which she did. She took a common bump, and she got counted out. Counted out because of one of the weakest moves you could use to get somebody to count out. So not only did you have Seth Rollins out there for who knows why, you barely pay attention to this match and have Mickie James return match be her losing to Natalya the weakest count-out way you could possibly imagine. I was disgusted by this. I'm like, are you serious? Mickie James has been booked dirty ever since she's been brought back to WWE. She was with Alexa Bliss, took her off TV and did God knows what for months. Then she had a feud with Alexa Bliss, and then realigned herself with Alexa Bliss, got hurt again. It's like, why'd you bring her back? Some of the stuff they used her for, yes, they could have done so much more. But why'd you bring her back if you were going to do this to her? This made her look weak. This doesn't make her look good at all. Like, again, who loses by getting just pushed off the ropes like a normal person normally would do? It made no freaking sense whatsoever to me. I'm sorry. I didn't like it. I hated this. To me, this was the lowest point of the show. This was stupid. This was disrespectful. This poor Mickie James. Poor Mickie freaking James, who looked just gorgeous as ever, of course, as always. And they just ruined her return. What, they had her get up and do a Mick kick on Lana? It was too late. She already made her look weak with that loss. The damage is done. Who thought this was a good idea? Stupid. Just absolutely stupid. I hated it. Then we have Sasha and Bayley come out, getting ready for their tag match. Sasha says, when you're the hardest working and you've got all the gold, that'll break anybody. And now they're both going to wrestle Asuka at SummerSlam, which Bayley has after a few days. They can't wait to finally have a night off, because Asuka thinks she's so smart, but she's going to be more like the Empress of Stupidity. Again, just stupid stuff that I'm sure Vince had them say. There's no chance she can beat both of them in one night. Who should fight them first? They basically do no you, no you, no you. So basically, it's agreed that Bayley's going to fight Asuka first, which Bayley's probably going to retain, and Asuka's going to beat Sasha Banks. Calling it right now. And then, of course, they're going to, but they think they're going to retain. So after they retain, they're going to party until Payback, when they have to defend the women's tag titles. And basically, there's no one who's worthy of challenging them, which is true because there's no legitimate tag teams really built up well right now, besides the ones they've already beaten. Then out comes Shayna Baszler, says a few words, basically whoever has that Raw must have SummerSlam, she's next. Asuka comes out, and they basically said, we will fight eventually, but right now we fight together. So we have Asuka and Shayna Baszler teaming up, which they're still... It looks like they are making Shayna Baszler a babyface, based on what's happening later on in the show, and I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm sorry, Shayna Baszler, I'm not doing a turn alert yet, as I'm waiting to see what happens, especially what they did later on during the show. Shayna Baszler should not, in God's name, be a babyface. Shayna Baszler is not going to be able to pull off the persona she had in NXT as a babyface. That's a heel persona that she can just go crazy with and hit the nail in the coffin on the main roster if they book her right. I do not like the fact that they're teasing Shayna Baszler being a babyface. I do not like that. And then this match happens, and most of it was Asuka 2-on-1 against Bayley and Sasha, because my God, I'm suspended. Nia Jax, knocks down the plexiglass, and she crashes the ring, and she attacks Shayna Baszler, and gets Shayna Baszler out of the match. So, she's not in Retribution, I'm guessing. So why is she here? And of course, here comes Pat Buck, because apparently Pat Buck only comes out when it has something to do with Nia Jax. But of course it was enough, because Nia Jax would appear again in the show. But then Shayna Baszler got back involved, and she helped Asuka win. But Asuka had Sasha in the Asuka lock outside the ring, and then Shayna had Bayley tap out to her Karafuda clutch. Having Bayley tapping out 2 weeks ago does not quite sit well with me, though. That's the only thing I gotta say. Match was decent, but I still think the Nia Jax stuff ruined it for me a little bit. Because she's Nia Jax. Let's check the live chat before we move on further. He's going to say this Samoa Joe is coming back to the ring with Seth Rollins at some point. Sure. The Glory Hogs and champions lose all the damn time. Oh yeah, they do. Anyway, so moving on along, backstage we're seeing Apollo Crews and his crew chatting up. He thanks him for having his back, and he picks his partners to be Ricochet and Ali. Cedric's like, well, I want to be in the match, but Apollo says he knows what it's like being in Lashley's full Nelson, and he wants to give him a chance to recover from the full Nelson. As they leave, Randy Orton's walking around, and they're advertising, of course, another legend to appear tonight because ratings, boy, they need ratings, so they're trying to kiss our asses. So, but we'll get back to that later on. But speaking of actually the person who was brought on, we get to this promo. This was a really good promo. I love this promo. Drew McIntyre is chilling with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. He understands how upset Drew is, but he's got to understand, Orton's going to use that against him. But he's traveled too rough of a road to give up now. Drew says HBK has been a big part of his career path, mentoring during his comeback and saying he believed he would become WWE champion. And now Randy's roughing roughshod, and McIntyre can't help but feel he's let Shawn down. But Michaels says, you're a stud, and yeah, it's been rough, but you can do it. He wants Drew to go to SummerSlam, show everyone who he is, but what he wants tonight is he's going to go out there and face Randy, and Drew needs to give him his space. Which was, again, a great promo, because, again, it was just a way to kind of, establish, another bond of someone who kind of helped, a good bond between Shawn Michaels and Drew McIntyre. Obviously, having HBK saying, he was a part of Drew McIntyre gaining his confidence back when he came back to WWE and had his brief run in NXT, which makes sense. He writes for NXT. So I like that. It made it a lot more heartfelt for what was going to happen. We knew it was coming later on at the end of the show. Riot Squad hanging out. The Iconics make fun of them again. And Billy's like, oh, my shoulder is acting up, so Peyton will take my place against Ruby tonight. And then we see, but as they're going away, we see Shayna Baszler talking with two other cronies. We'll get to the two other cronies are in a little bit. Peyton Royce took on Ruby Riott. Peyton Royce won. Peyton is getting better. Again, I am hearing the rumors that Vince is pretty high on her as a single star. And I also like how she pushed Ruby into Liv when Liv wasn't looking to kind of test their friendship. Test the waters, obviously. Since obviously, there may be a doubt or two with Liv and Ruby, since Liv may not 100% trust Ruby still. They're getting there, but showing that doubt was good, and I think it was good for Peyton as well. So Peyton Royce gets the win, and that was that. It's Raw Underground time, and we see Shane chatting with Dolph Ziggler, who asks him to rate Eric's performance. Dolph gives him a 4 out of 10, and Eric's like, you want to go at it? We're going to go at it. So him and Eric have a brawl, and Dolph Ziggler wins by referee stoppage, a sleeper hold. And then Ivar pounced onto Dolph into the crowd around the ring, pretty much like how Keith Lee did to Adam Cole, except of course not as good. Which is setting up a Raw Underground match between Ivar and Dolph next week. Okay. Yeah, this segment also was pretty good. The Mysterios come out. That is Dominic and Ray. First time we've seen Ray on TV since his eye for an eye match at Extreme Rules. There's one word that describes how he felt his Extreme Rules. Pain. Because of what Seth did to his eye, but even worse when he saw what Seth did to Dominic. Having to see his own flesh and blood in agony and not being able to do anything about it makes him feel a rage he's never felt before. He needed to be there to protect Dominic, to stop the beating, to take the beating himself. He's not fully recovered from the beating he took for Brawler's hands, but no doctor on this planet will stop him from protecting his son. So Seth's not going to repeat what he did because at SummerSlam, he's going to be in his son's corner. Dominic thanks his dad and says he knows what he's in for when he signed up for this match, and he knows what he has to do to defend their family, and he'll be ready. They embrace, and then Ray says he has no idea how proud he is, how much he admires the fight and determination, and he knows he'll be ready at SummerSlam. Which Rollins and Murphy show up on the Tron. Seth's like, I didn't take Ray for an idiot. Yet here he stands in the ring less than a week away from the most important moment of his son's life, putting him in danger, and why? For his own glory, because it's always been about him. What kind of father is he? And Rollins can't understand why he continues to put himself and his son in these situations. He could have prevented this from the get-go, and everyone has a role to play in the greater good. This all could have been avoided if he would have just accepted his role, but he and his son got hurt, and the tragic thing is, it's not just going to be him and his son. It's the Mysterio name and legacy that will end up being the ultimate sacrifice. Ray says he got such big words, why doesn't he come down and back them up? Rollins laughs it off and says, what's wrong with him? One-eyed and with a kid that can't stand up straight? He tells Ray he asked for this, and don't move an inch. So Rollins and Murphy come out, but then Ray and Dominic roll out of the ring like heel cowards at first. And I'm like, oh, why are they doing this? But it was a setup, because as Rollins is trashing them, Ray is distracting. He's more having Ray folk have them focus on him, and then Dominic grabs not one, but two kendo sticks and gets in there and starts swinging them at Seth and Murphy. And Ray joins in, and they begin just to whack them both, similar to how Rollins whacked Mysterio last week. Well, Dominic, but of course Seth got out of there in time. But a nice little beating of teams. What is to come? Here's what I want to see in the street fight: Seth Rollins get whooped with a kendo stick like Dominic did, and also a steel steps shot maybe not, because I said enough with the eye, but some type of severe revenge for Dominic to get on Seth, to give Seth his comeuppance. Even though I still don't know if I see Dominic winning. I'm still thinking about that, which we'll talk about that in my preview predictions later on this week. But a good segment to set up this match for sure. I thought it was good, and it again, I'm still not sure how I feel about Dominic taking on Rollins though in his first matches. Again, I still feel like it's setting the bar a little too high for Dominic, but it's still going to be good. But I'll say my thoughts, of course, for the SummerSlam preview predictions later this week. We have Cedric hanging out backstage. MVP's trying to get him into his head to get him to join the Hurt Business, but he's like, no, I'm not. But then he says, maybe Apollo thinks that Cedric's a weak link. But of course, when MVP walks away, Alexander throws his water ball out of frustration. Raw Underground, we get Arturo Ruas taking on Riddick Moss, which I think ends in a draw, I think, from what I saw. We have the elimination match. Apollo Crews, Mustafa Ali, and Ricochet taking on the Hurt Businesses, Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin. I thought this was a very pointless match because they had them squash Ali and then Ricochet. They're nobodies. So it came down to 3-on-1. Crews beat Benjamin. Then as Benjamin was exiting, Cedric Alexander rolled him up for a 24/7 title. So Cedric is 24/7 champion. And then Apollo takes out MVP. But then of course Bobby Lashley takes him out. I felt like it was a little pointless. What was the point of it? What did it really accomplish? It made Ali and Ricochet look weak. And then of course afterwards they have Cedric Alexander take on Akira Tozawa for the 24/7 championship. And Cedric wins until Shelton Benjamin hits a pay dirt out of nowhere to win the title back. So, pointless. I will say this, though. Obviously, it was starting to tease some type of a heel turn. Somebody is turning heel. out of the 4 baby faces involved in this feud. And it's probably either going to be Apollo Crews or Cedric Alexander. Both of them, I think, could use the heel turn. However, though, based off the circumstances, I still think Apollo could use it first. Apollo Crews could use that heel turn first and join the Hurt Business. Because after if he does beat MVP, where's he going to go? If you turn Apollo heel, he could have great U.S. title matches with the likes of Cedric, Ali, Ricochet, several other superstars he could have on Raw that he could have great matches with for that U.S. title, even with against Kevin Owens as well, and a few others. So I'm going to say either within the next week or so, either got a hair in my mouth, Apollo Crews or Cedric Alexander's turning heel. Still think it should be Apollo first. But of course, I'll get to my preview predictions when we get there. But yeah, I thought this was all a little kind of pointless. Like, what was the point of all this? I mean, Lashley came out looking strong, but Apollo beat MVP again. So what was kind of the point of it? And it also made Ali and Ricochet look weak, I thought. But then we get back to Raw Underground. Remember earlier when I said that Shayna Baszler was chilling with 2 cronies? Those 2 cronies were Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir. Long time we've seen them, right? And then Marina Shafir has a Raw Underground match, and I guess she looked a little bit better, but Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir are just they're not clicking with it like Ronda and Shayna did. But now it looks like all 3 of them are baby faces, which again makes no sense to me. Shouldn't be the case. So they're on the main roster. So maybe when Becky and Charlotte get back, and if Ronda decides to come back, then maybe next year we're getting that 4 horsewoman match. But I'm slowly not digging it because of the poor talent of Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir. So I don't know, guys. And again, I'm not sure if they're staying babyface or just a one-time deal. We'll see what happens after SummerSlam when Asuka wins the championship back. I hope to God they don't have Shayna turn face. She does not need to be a babyface. But also during that match, guess who interferes? Nia Jax, and goes after Shayna Baszler and the rest of the Horsewoman. But of course, she just walks away like a coward, and Shane tells her to get back and fight, and she decides not to fight. So once again, Wolf's point there. And once again, isn't she suspended indefinitely? So why was Shane even allowing her to fight? Made no sense. We have Andrade taking on Montez Ford, and Montez wins the schoolboy roll-up. Once again, I don't know why this took place. But then we have this main event. Shawn Michaels comes out. We see what happened last week with Ric Flair and Randy Orton. HBK says, you have to understand how much Ric Flair loved performing inside this ring and for the W Universe. And without him, there'd be no HBK, no Batista, no Edge, no Christian, no Drew McIntyre, and certainly no Randy Orton. But Orton doesn't have the same gratitude and appreciation, despite Flair mentoring him on a daily basis for years. Randy feels like he was owed that mentorship. He doesn't know how, but HBK says he's going to make his justice by the end of SummerSlam, whether by Sweet Chin Music or a Claymore that he will see coming. Because the tagline of SummerSlam is, you'll never see it coming this year. And then I'm like, okay, where is he? Because the show's about to end. Yep, here came Randy Orton, RKO out of nowhere, doesn't hesitate. He punts Shawn Michaels right in the skull. Which, by the way, we see Shawn Michaels without a hat on. He's grown his hair back. Remember almost 2 years ago when he was bald? He's bald! Bald! Bald, bald! Well, he still has a bald spot, but he has a lot more hair now. Which, of course, sends out Drew McIntyre, who had that very heartfelt conversation with Shawn backstage, which I thought sets up really good. And then Orton comes back trying to get McIntyre, but they start brawling. And outside the ring, Orton gets slammed to a couple things. And of course, Drew goes back to check on Shawn again, but then the Viper attacks Drew with an RKO out of nowhere. That shall show go off the air. Good ending. But a really messy Raw. Again, I just felt there was a lot of things. Well, again, the thing I hated most was the Mickie James and Natalya match. That was. But a lot of the stuff in the show, I felt like they just doubled it and filled it up with like the same things that they were doing all night. Again, like, you know, the elimination match, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax getting so many directions tonight, it was confusing. The thing with Retribution and doing that stuff at the beginning didn't make any sense to me. I thought they should wait till the end of the show to do that. So I'm gonna give this a C minus. I give this Raw a C minus for the inconsistency. I was gonna give it just a C, but because it's that inconsistent, I'll give it a C minus. Live chat. Why bring back Mickie James to lose exactly? He thinks Drew better win. He thinks Raw Underground is lame, and it needs to be 2 hours, of course. But yeah. So guys, that's going to do it for my review of Raw. C minus. What are your thoughts on Raw? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video, subscribe or comment on my channel, and follow me on Twitter at DemandAirboy93. Of course, this week, well, Wednesday's going to be just NXT review, because AEW is going to be on Saturday night this week as the NBA schedule. And, of course, I will probably Thursday, do my preview predictions for TakeOver 30. And then, of course, Friday is going to be SmackDown. Maybe that or Saturday, I'll do my, because I have a busy day Saturday, do my preview predictions for SummerSlam. And also my NXT TakeOver 30 review. Sunday, depends on how late I get back home. SummerSlam review. And at some point, AEW review as well. So, that's the plan for this week. I'm not going to do card predictions also for Payback. I'd love to, because I love the Payback graphics. I tried it, anytime we've had that pay-per-view, I've tried to, duplicate them, and, because I think they're cool, and I want to try and make them look like those graphics. I think they look cool. But I just don't have the time. I find it pointless for a show that's getting only 1 week build. So, I'll also do preview predictions and review of Payback, but not any card predictions. So that's it, guys. What are your thoughts on Raw? Just leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video. Subscribe or comment on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirboy93. Get Mickie Deserves Better trending on Twitter as well, because Mickie James deserves much better than this. And I'm checking out. Have a good rest of your night, guys. I'll see you all later. Peace out, everybody.